Welcome to Mercy's Designs. My name is Mercy and I sell Stampin' Up! Products. This is my part 2 of my paper pumpkin alternatives. And in the earlier video I made these 2 cards, and now we're going to focus on these 2. So I love this set. This is called the No Matter the Weather right here. And it just comes with all 2 stamp sets, and it's just amazing in this adorable little box with all the card bases, etc. 2 stamp sets, which are just amazing. But if you want to make full-size cards instead of the note size, this might be of more interest to you. And I just want to show some tricks and tips, and I'm going to make a few changes to this card primarily. So I'm going to set this aside and we'll get started with a little stamping. I'm going to bring in my, I like using this to give a little cushioning. So if you do not have, this is the deluxe Stamparatus matte thing, I guess it's called. And I like using it. It really adds a little cushion. So I'm going to first stamp the sentiment. Now the stamps that I brought in to use is Under My Umbrella in addition. It obviously you have plenty of choices with the other, but I thought they really are a beautiful match together. So I went ahead and did that. So here is the Night of Navy. This is not one of the listed colors. When you get the paper pumpkin, they have coordinating colors, and the coordinating colors are Balmy Blue, Basic Black, Calypso Coral, Grapefruit Grove, Gray Granite, Pear Pizzazz, Petal Pink, Shaded Spruce, and so Saffron. And those are wonderful choices, but sometimes we like to change things up. And I'm also bringing in the Pleased as Punch paper, the DSP. So just an FYI, I'm going to get my ink pads open. So I'm ready to roll here. Here is the stamp that I'm going to use, Rain or Shine, You're Always on My Mind, and that is from Under My Umbrella. And I will try to make a note when it is not from the paper pumpkin. But a lot of you might have that set, so there we have our stamped image. And then this is just so amazing how these boots, they are so stinking cute. Look at these boots. I love them. So I'm just going to ink that up and stamp using Night of Navy, which is the neutral. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. And now we have this beautiful floral image that will fit right into the boots. So I'm just going to ink this up with the Balmy Blue. And I'm going to try to do this without getting my head in it and get it on. So I look at those little rectangles primarily when I'm lining this up. And the rectangles are right, this part is what I'm talking about. And that came out pretty well. So really super cute, just adorable in my opinion. All right, so the other part, if you're going to use the umbrella, you'll need to stamp that. So here is my ink. I'm going to ink that up. And when you're looking at your punch, you want to line it up so that you're punching where you need to, the angle. So for example, if I did this, this would be a problem. So I want to look at it and stamp accordingly. And what I find is best is to, when you're punching, to go from right to left. So I'm just going to put that right here, and there we have it, ready to roll. Okay, so that is that part of the stamping. I went ahead and did quite a bit ahead of time because I didn't want to bore you with too much coloring. If there's an unusual part, I'll definitely explain that further. But right here, I fussy cut these out, and what I came up with is this. So you can see it will dry a little lighter actually. But I left a little piece here, and that's important because I want it to attach. All right. So the other part I wanted to explain is I went ahead and stamped 2 of the images twice. This is again from under my umbrella. So I'll bring those stamps in. So this image I did twice and this image once. So they're the 2 larger. There is one more flower image, which I did not use. So that is what you get there. And then I will show how I put that together. So when you have, after you fussy cut them out, you have this. And what I like to do is I wanted to have these attached and this one in the center. So the easiest way I found was to use my good old snail, which by the way, I do not use snail very much. So you might be surprised to see me, but I do use it occasionally. And basically what you want to do is you want to get your boots like so, and you want to make sure it's spread out as far as you can. That makes sense. Then I purposely did not color that because it's going to be covered. Oops. And what I do here is then I take my leaf and kind of tuck it in like that, my top sprig. So it kind of looks centered like that, and then it's ready to roll. So I already did that and added dimensionals. So you don't have to watch me do that, adding dimensionals. I said I was trying to save some time. Okay, so this is Pleased as Punch, and I think it's just gorgeous. So I backed it with Night of Navy, and I really love this combination. I think it's really stunning, the Night of Navy. So I utilize that. Okay, so one last thing is we need to take our base and we need to do a little stamping. So I'm going to bring in the Balmy Blue again, and I previously used this stamp, which is part of it, and it's like a big flower and it's very bold and it goes really fast. But this time I've decided I'm going to use the little raindrops, so this will be a little time consuming, I'm afraid. So I'm going to speed this part up. Here we have the card already creating this beautiful background. I'm going to set this aside and we can start assembling. So I've already attached these two, the designer series paper to the Night of Navy, and this is, ooh, I had a little ink on my finger. Oh well, hopefully no one will notice that part. Okay, so always keep your fingers clean, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and add this right here. And I'm going to intentionally kind of put it more towards, you know, not centered. I kind of like that look. But I think it's super cute with the raindrops. So next we're going to go ahead and attach our little boots, which are super adorable. So it doesn't take a lot of glue, but just a little. And the way this is cut, it will come out correctly. So I'm just going to put this on the right side and put them enough space so that, you know, oh, yeah, I need to have these apart. I don't want them overlapping, although that would be kind of interesting. All right, so then I'm gonna go ahead and add our flowers. And I've got lots of dimensionals, and the dimensionals will also help it together. As you can see, when I was putting these together, I used very little snail. So those dimensionals are really doing the job. The snail, I was using a tiny amount because I wanted to be able to shift it. So the boots are growing flowers, so cute. And then we have our little rain or shine, but I actually took, this is part of the little die cuts. I took this and attached it so that you have just a little bit more interest, just to add the cute little touch. So I will keep Some of these, I'll make a bunch of these, and some of them I will just keep without the sentiment and keep the sentiment in a little bag with it, and then add it if I need like a thinking of you card, I would use this. If I need a birthday card, I will keep the extra die cuts, the happy birthday, handy. So just a little idea if you find yourself wanting to have options, further options. I like doing that occasionally. Okay, so here is our little under the umbrella, which is super cute. I'm just going to pop it up with a few dimensionals. And sometimes when I'm taking these off, I like to do it at the same time as when I'm attaching it. I just take off the back because really, you know we need that off soon. So rather than making 2 steps out of one, it's actually saves a little time. Okay, so here is our cute little umbrella, and I'm just going to put it at an angle. And then, yeah, I want that kind of coming up. Then the final touch is to add these raindrops, and this is part of the kit. So cute. But I felt like the white would kind of get lost. So I took, a lot of people know this little trick. I took the Night of Navy marker and colored a few raindrops so that it would, these are kind of tricky to get a hold of. So I want it kind of at an angle. A little raindrop and another little raindrop. And they also have a few round ones, so we're just going to add, again, these are kind of slippery, hard to get off the paper in a way. So make sure you use some type of pokey tool. Highly recommend that. So there we have our just adorable little card. I love it. And again, you can have the option, if you cut a few labels and make them up and keep it in a bag together, you will be all set to do, change it up if you need a birthday card or a thinking of you card. So I kind of like this. It's a little more subtle with the raindrops, but this is maybe slightly more cheerful, I would say, for a birthday. So both work. All right, so now on to card number 2. Here we go. And I'm going to show a few tricks with this. So as you notice, one of the things is we have this little piece coming out. This is like a little tag type thing, which I like to do occasionally. So this is with the, let me grab the punch. Okay, so this is with this punch. It's called the Scalloped Topper punch. And this really is usually used for the bookmarks. But don't, just use things just what you usually think of. Think outside the box a little. And that's kind of what Paper Pumpkin is about. Alternatives, right? At least it is to me. I love doing alternatives because I love mixing things up. So that's what we have for that. And then another idea I had here is, of course, this is so saffron. But in order to make it a little brighter, I don't know if some of you know, but you can actually color over with your colored pencils. So I have some colored pencils here. These I'm going to use for the bunny. And this I'm going to just add a few highlights, and it'll just brighten it up a little. And don't be afraid to do this. It really comes out usually pretty well without any risk of taking away the beauty. So again, I'm going to speed this next part up, and we're going to do a little bit of coloring. So here you can see how I kind of just brighten it up. Let me get out the original die cut so you can kind of see the difference. I don't know if you can see the difference greatly, but I feel like it brightens it a little bit. It just makes it pop a little bit more. So this bunny, of course, I stamped using the stamp that's part of the set. And I had fussy cut it. So I didn't feel like you needed to see that part. I'm just looking where that stamp is. But in the previous video, I showed how I stamped with that. So now we're going to go ahead and bring in our base. So here is our base, and I want to do a little bit of stamping with this one. And so what we're going to use, I'm going to bring this back in, is the this one stamp that's part of the set, which is right here. And oh, I did find the bunny stamp right here. I'm like, where is that bunny? It scampered away, right? No, not quite. All right, it's just my disorganization. Here we have Coastal Cabana. Is this listed as a color? No, but the designer series paper that I'm using, which of course is the Pleased as Punch, has this as one of the colors. And so I definitely modified the colors from what Paper Pumpkin suggested, which I totally find legit to do, and did it more to the paper, the designer series paper. So think about that, using up some of your designer paper for this sort of thing. And this one, I'm going to do a little differently. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more stamping all over. Kind of feel like it could use it. And I want to make sure I don't have anything it's showing for this one. I'm going to go off. Of course, I'm getting off on here, but I'll probably wipe that down and it won't be a problem before I do anything else. Hopefully I'll remember to do that. All right, so here we have it. Now we're going to just do a little bit of assembling. So I'm just going to try to get this to lay flat because it'll just be easier. It's being disobedient though. All right, so we're not going to worry too much. I'm just going to quickly attach this, and we're going to use a little bit of the baker's twine, which is part of the kit. Just saying, I love baker's twine actually. It's super easy to use always. So here we have this, and I'm, mostly it's going to be pushed in, so you're not going to see the whole thing, but we want enough to, attach it. All right, so the baker's twine is next. Okay, that's kind of interesting. It's kind of doing a disobedient thing, but we'll manage. Hopefully we'll get it to lay in a artistic way. Of course, that's always what we're trying to go for, right? If it's going to be crooked, make it completely crooked. If you're going to have loose threads, make them lay correctly. Sloppy, but intentionally sloppy. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this here, and we're having this, of course, offset. And this is basic gray for the matting. I kept looking at different color combinations. Because this is so bright, I felt like it needed to be toned down. So I think everyone would agree with that. And this, interesting, this background stamp kind of matches this, I thought. Anyhow, very cool. Okay. So we're going to bring in our adorable boots and these fabulous little daffodils. I love daffodils. So spring-like. I don't know, which card do you like the most that I've shown? I hope these last two I think are my favorite. but I think they're all pretty cute. And I will definitely be able to use these. I'm hoping to send out some cards to people that are shut in during this time of crises with the coronavirus. So I think this set is very fitting, actually. Very nice to... Okay, so I'm gonna just put this down really lightly because I probably should have done my no matter the weather. So I am not going to show how I stamp this because it's just pretty basic. This is the stamp that's included, and you stamp it in Coastal Cabana, or you could, if you want it a little darker, I would also suggest using the Bermuda Bay would be another option. So yeah, I definitely should have done this before putting this down, but we're gonna make it work. I don't want it covered, but I want it pretty, so. Okay. Yeah, we gotta make sure the words aren't covered. So it's just kind of coming off the side. And now we gotta bring Bunny back in because he's so darn cute. So using the colored pencils, in some ways I like better than the blends because you can make it lighter. So something to think about. Don't forget about your colored pencils if you have them. They work so well for light coloring like that. All right, so there we have our card. And here's the original. So you can see pretty much the same deal, only I did this a little differently with the ribbon, but about the same card. Okay, so here's our other one. And I'm gonna zoom out a little, and we're gonna bring in the rest of the cards that I was showing earlier. So check out part 1 of this. Here are the other cards. I think they're all really cute. Love this set. If you do not subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, you should definitely consider it. And at the very least, every year when they have their anniversary, which is always in March, this year is, I believe, 7 years, they include something extra. So that's always really a bonus. So always subscribe in March, I would say. All right, so this is one other card that's kind of, I decided not to show it, but it's really cute. It's one of the stamps that's included. So just, again, if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing. I hope you were inspired. Oh boy, I didn't even notice that. I had that upside down. Only the umbrella was the right side. Anyway, I'm a goof. All right. Again, thank you for watching, and if you have any stamp needs, please email me at mewants3@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to help you place an order. And happy stamping!